Today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
No Michael K. No Michael K. Jake Asman in for Michael, taking you until 3 o'clock. Coming at you live from our New York City studios. A lot to talk about. We have an absolutely loaded guest list. Michael, by the way, should be back tomorrow. He's doing just fine. Don't you worry. Marcus Spears will join us in his weekly spot on the K Show at 1:30. At 1:45, we'll talk with one of the best college basketball coaches of all time. Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo will join the program. Michigan State in town at the Garden tonight, taking on Kentucky in the annual Champions Classic. So we'll check in with Coach Izzo, his number 17 ranked Spartans go up against the 12th ranked Kentucky Wildcats tonight. So we'll get into that with him. And then 2 o'clock, weekly college football segment with the great Paul Finebaum. So we got a lot to do. We certainly will talk plenty about football. Also, I keep checking Twitter. I keep making sure I'm not missing anything. Trent Grisham has until 4 p.m. today to accept or decline the one-year qualifying offer for around $22 million. And that decision to me has major ramifications for the rest of the Yankees offseason. If Grisham does not accept the offer, I think that'd be best-case scenario for the Yankees, because then that now frees you up to potentially bring back Bellinger and not logjam either Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez. It gives you more options. If he accepts it, it's not like it's this odious contract, but it is a lot of money for a guy who's coming off this one outlier career year. I don't know if Trent Grisham's going to hit another 30-plus home runs next season. Now, it's only a one-year deal, but that better not mean the Yankees are saying, oh, we're good. We can't bring back Cody Bellinger anymore. And who knows? I don't think it necessarily does, but it does limit some of the other moves you maybe can make along the margins if Hal Steinbrenner's still insistent on getting the payroll to under $300 million. So we will be checking that and following that. I also have some thoughts on the Knicks losing last night, but we start with some football, right? Even though the Jets and the Giants both stink, we're talking football. I'll start with the Jets, because yesterday it was reported that Justin Fields is being benched for Tyrod Taylor. And look, I have absolutely no issue with this decision by the Jets. It's the right decision. If you heard me filling in for Michael on Friday, I was screaming and yelling about this. This was the right move. Tyrod Taylor gives you, one, the best chance to win. He's a better quarterback than Justin Fields. I don't care about their age. And if Aaron Glenn's going to admit after the game on Thursday that they don't want to run Tyrod Taylor a lot because they're concerned about him getting hurt, then there's no point in having Justin Fields out there. I think I said that wrong. If they don't want to run Justin Fields a lot because they're concerned about him getting hurt, then don't play him, right? Play Tyrod instead, who's more of a drop-back, conventional quarterback. But the biggest reason why Tyrod needs to play, you got to be able to evaluate the players that are on this team. I have no idea what John Mechie is or what A.D. Mitchell is. A.D. Mitchell couldn't catch last Thursday, but you know what? He was getting open against Christian Gonzalez. I need more opportunities for him to make plays downfield. I need more opportunities for Mason Taylor to get the ball thrown to him, the Jets tight end. And I also want to get a better idea on the offensive coordinator for the Jets, because he has a super important job going into next year if the Jets are now going to be drafting one of these rookie quarterbacks. So, look, there's only 7 games to go. I've seen enough from Justin Fields. It was time to make a change. Justin Fields has topped 100 passing yards only 2 times in his last 5 starts. The Jets rank 32nd in passing yards per game. 140 yards per game is what they average in the NFL. In a league built to score, the Jets don't do it. Justin Fields has had 505 total yards in his past 5 starts combined. It was time. The reason it even took this long was because of the circumstances with the Jets' schedule, right? Tyrod was going to start the Bengals game. He was hurt. So Fields starts against the worst defense in the league. He plays great. You can't bench him after that. You go into your bye week. Fields starts against the Browns. They win in spite of him. And then what? Oh, well, you can't bench him because it's a short week. So short week, you don't bench him, and then you pivot to Tyrod Taylor after Fields on Thursday Night Football was downright horrendous. It should have happened at halftime of the Patriots game. It should have happened at halftime in London against the Broncos. But here's the big thing, right? It's easy to say Justin Fields is not any good. Here's the real concern I have as a diehard fan of the Jets. And again, Jake Asman in for Michael K. Would love to hear from Jet fans on this because I know there's a lot of you out there. Can Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji be trusted to pick the next quarterback? Like, that is the central question now facing the Jets going forward. And we might not have a choice as fans. I don't think Woody Johnson's going to fire his head coach and GM after he allowed them to make the trades that the Jets just made at the deadline, right? Glenn sold Woody on this master plan of sustained winning and rebuilding it the right way. How many times have we heard that load of crap from a Jet coach or GM? But that's the plan that Woody's buying into. But Fields was such a miss for everyone involved in that decision. Whether you want to blame Glenn for sticking his neck out for the guy, saying this guy's never been coached up, we're going to let him play quarterback, which is kind of the problem. If you let him play quarterback, he can't do it. If you let him play running back, maybe he can make some plays with his legs. But that's a whole other conversation. But whether you want to put that on Glenn, whether you want to put that on Engstrand, whoever, Aaron Glenn's the head coach. He oversaw that decision. They couldn't wait to get rid of Aaron Rodgers first, oh, by the way. But also just the contract that the Jets gave Justin Fields. $30 million guaranteed, $40 million overall. They completely misread the market. Completely misread the market. Think about it. Look at the contracts that other reclamation project quarterbacks received. Daniel Jones comes to mind. Signed a one-year deal for $14 million. Sam Darnold 2 years ago, one-year deal for $10 million. Like, the Jets gave $40 million to Fields, $30 of it guaranteed. That's on the GM who had no feel for the marketplace. Or it's even worse. They truly thought Justin Fields was this quarterback that had never been coached up properly, and they were going to be the ones to fix him. So let's make sure we get him, guarantee his money. We have him for 2 years. We're all set. That makes the Jets also look bad. Like, every aspect of the Fields situation is a bad look for the organization. And if the Jets cut Justin Fields before June 1st, they have a $22 million cap charge they have to deal with on their books for 2026. Aaron Rodgers, because they split up his cap number, which was a moronic decision, not just taking it all on the chin this year to clean your books for next year, if you weren't going to be any good this year. But wait, the Jets thought they were going to be good, even if Aaron Glenn tries to spin it otherwise. Oh, I never said when Jet fans would be proud of the team we have. Remember that? Backpedal? To quote Don LaGreca, Glenn's hamstrings hurt after that one. But if the Jets cut Fields before June 1, $22 million cap charge, Aaron Rodgers, $35 million dead cap charge. So that's $57 million on the cap for two quarterbacks that won't be on the Jets roster next year. It's just terrible roster management. And then there's this with Glenn. He pushed back for weeks when asked about Fields' job security. He dismissed questions after they lost to the Broncos in London. Remember Brian Costello asked him about benching Fields? And he said, what kind of question is that? You know better than that? And then he benched Fields at halftime 2 quarters later the following week. And here's the other issue I have, too, with this decision, right? It's the right move again, but why I have questions about it. Aaron Glenn was playing the I'm not going to tell you who my quarterback is game with the media the last few weeks, right? And what did he cite for the reasoning for that? Competitive advantage. So now all of a sudden you don't want the competitive advantage as a 14-point underdog against the Ravens on Sunday? Why is the Field news getting out now? And you could say Jake Glenn hasn't spoken. It was reported on. Okay. Well, yesterday Jeremy Rucker confirmed it over Zoom with a weekly press conference with reporters that Glenn told the team in their meeting on Tuesday that it was going to be Justin Fields on the bench and Tyrod Taylor starting against the Ravens on Sunday. So after weeks of secrecy, now it's conveniently leaking out that the team's making a change. Like, Glenn's been all over the place with even that. And now these guys are going to be entrusted to get the quarterback situation figured out this offseason. Are they going to trade assets for another veteran? Should I trust their quarterback acumen if they were this wrong on Fields? I don't trust them. I don't think I have a choice as a Jet fan, but I don't trust them. And if they are going to make this move in the draft, right? Can they pick the right player? Can they pick the right quarterback? I mean, part of the reason Glenn said they signed Justin Fields was he was so tough to game plan against, so tough to stop. Well, every other team in the league could game plan against Justin Fields. I guess Aaron Glenn couldn't. It's a mess, man. It's the right move again. They had to do this. but it just opens yourself up for a lot of real questions. The real concern going forward is, can Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji be trusted to pick the next quarterback? Do you have any faith in them doing it? Ultimately, I don't think we have a choice again, but it's a tough spot to be in. It really is. 800-919-3776. Now to the Giants. I was listening to Chris Carlin lose his mind coming in over Cam Skattebo and Abdul Carter being at Monday Night Raw last night at MSG. And I got to be honest, I usually try to not be like the old guy, get off my lawn with the sports opinions as a younger guy on this radio station. But I think it's a bad look for both guys to be involved in that. I really do. I don't think it's the best optic for, first off, Abdul Carter to be holding up a championship belt when the Giants have 2 wins right now. You're champions of what? You have 2 wins. Second, you're in the news because you got benched for the first series of the game Sunday for sleeping through a walkthrough. Or as Abdul Carter denied, no, he was in recovery. Well, that could be semantics. Sleeping could be a form of recovery. It's a bad look. And then the New York Post reported today, it's not the first time that Abdul Carter has been late to things, which is a huge problem in that Giants building. Because you could get away with it if you're Lawrence Taylor, whose number Abdul Carter wanted, remember. You don't get away with it when you're Abdul Carter and you have how many sacks on the year? Not even a full sack? A half a sack? Really? That's the problem. So optics-wise, it looks terrible. To be at Monday Night Raw, not the best look. And then for Skattebo, who's out right now, to basically be involved in like a brawl starting there, and I get it, it's scripted, but there was still like real physical activity. If you watch the highlights that's happening there, it's not the best look when this guy's in a walking boot doing this at MSG. So it just kind of feeds to the narrative that the Giants are a mess. They're a train wreck. In a lot of ways, they become the Jets. The Jets have remained the Jets, and the Giants have become the Jets. If you think about it, right? The Giants, they fire the coach, but they keep the GM. The Jets did that how many times? They did it with my co-host on Sundays on this station, Mike Tannenbaum, and kept Rex, where you keep one and not the other. Then the Jets did the reverse of that when they ultimately fired Todd Bowles but kept the GM, Mike McCagnon. I mean, it's just another bad look for the Giants. It really is. And look, no one got hurt. At the end of the day, okay, fine, whatever. But it's not the best optics. And especially Abdul Carter. What have you done, dude? And then to go on social media and like laugh about the incident, like it's funny. Like, you're having a terrible rookie year. The Giants invested the 3rd overall pick, and you're making fun of the fact that you missed a walkthrough, and apparently it's not the first time you've been late to things. It's just, to me, not a good look at all. And I don't think it would matter if the Giants were any good, but they're not. And that's the same thing when we talk about Aaron Glenn with the media. Nobody cares what he says to Rich Cimini or Brian Costello if the team's winning. But it just kind of adds to the perception that you're a joke when you lose. And that's what's happening here. So all around, I just don't think it was a good look for the Giants yesterday with the Carter stuff coming out during the day and then being seen at the Garden last night holding up a Giants championship belt when you're a 2-win team. Now, Matt Bumbaka is one of the esteemed producers of the show. He is a Giants fan, so maybe I'm off base here. Maybe Giants fans don't care. I want the pulse of a Giants fan. I listened to Rothenberg this morning. He didn't like it. He's as big of a Giant fan as anyone. Where do you stand with Abdul Carter and Cam Skattebo being at MSG last night involved in a altercation at Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, Abdul being there, I really did not care, didn't mind it whatsoever. Even Skattebo being there, that's totally fine. You know, go have fun. He was at UFC Saturday night, at the Giant game Sunday, back to the Garden Monday night. But getting involved physically, like,
you saw the video, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's one thing to be there and, like, you're in the crowd, right? That's fun. Jalen Brunson did something like that with Therese Halliburton like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but that was more just a stare down.
Right. He didn't actually shove someone. Like, and this, I saw some quotes from Michael Strahan talking about this that he didn't like it. He's like, man, I was supposed to be there, and then I saw Scat there, and I go, I wish I was there because I don't like seeing our guy who's out involved in that altercation. Take care of yourself. So a Giant legend agrees with me on this. So that's why I don't like to be the old man, get off my lawn. But I just think this is like a bad optic, and it's just a silly decision by Skattebo to do this when he's an injured player right now. He's doing this in a walking boot.
Yeah, and as a fan, like, listen, it is okay for him to shove somebody as part of the bit, but he got shoved back.
Right, he was actually, that's what, people who haven't seen the clip, he was actually in the melee. That I get it, it's scripted, but guys get hurt in wrestling all the time in the WWE.
Yeah, and the guy dislocated his ankle about a month ago. You don't want to see somebody pushing him. That's not, as a Giant fan, that's the last thing you want to see.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Is it going to be the end of the world? I guess not. No one got hurt, but it's just a bad look. And the Carter thing again, how are you missing stuff? And how was the punishment from Kafka just you miss a series? Right? Like, what does that really accomplish? I'll ask Marcus Spears that when he joins us in about 15 minutes. What are you really accomplishing if you sit a guy for just one series? Does that really teach him a lesson? I mean, you have Abdul Carter laughing about it on social media, so clearly he wasn't that remorseful for his actions. I don't know. Just silly. 800-919-3776. We'll get to your calls coming up. You know, the other thing that happened today that was really annoying is I could not get on basically every social media app trying to look up information to prepare for the show. How many people out there were affected by the Cloudflare situation? Major platforms like X, ChatGPT, Spotify, Facebook, League of Legends, all these different things were just shut down today. So it has been a hectic morning, to say the least. But we're excited to be with you. We got a lot to do. At Jake Asman on Twitter is where you could find me. Once again, no Michael K.
No Michael K.
He should be back tomorrow. But right now, let's get to some of your calls. I want to hear from the Giants fans out there. Boombaka seemed a little bothered, but he's not freaking out over it. How about Manny in New Jersey? He's a Giants fan. Manny, your thoughts on the WWE situation?
Yeah, so it's their time now. It's Cam's time right now. It's Abdul Carter's time right now. They may never be called back to WWE to do that again. So, of course, they had to do it now. I don't see a problem with it. We all know that it's scripted. It's usually just a push or two, and that's about it. But they're young. They have to take advantage of these opportunities where WWE is paying them just to show up. You know, so while I agree that the Abdul Carter thing is not ideal because he missed a practice or showed up late or whatever, but at the end of the day, this is something that they did for themselves for the money that they're getting.
Well, I don't know. So I don't know what they were paid, Manny, but they get paid plenty by the Giants. Like their obligation is to their football team that pays them millions of dollars, not to WWE if they can get a paycheck.
So I agree with that, but I'm sure that there's an appearance fee for them just to go and show their face. And one other thing, real quick on the Jets, when have the Jets ever propped up a quarterback? Like, I'm surprised by Jets fans and their reaction this year, thinking that they were going to be good. When have they ever produced a quarterback that wasn't already a veteran quarterback? The fact that they thought Fields was going to come in and do anything at all shocks me, like, completely. We all knew he could not throw the ball. He was not good in Pittsburgh, and the Jets cannot develop a quarterback. Tell me where were they looking, where they thought Justin Fields, not only is he going to be good for us this year, but maybe next year, so let's give him a 2-year contract and see where this goes. It was absolutely foolish. I don't know what Jets fans or the ownership thought bringing Fields in because he's absolutely terrible.
Manny, I agree. Good call. Look, here's the thing. And to your point, the contract is so egregious. It's only one of two things it means. One, they completely misread the market for what a player of Justin Fields should be going for. Or two, they truly thought they had their guy. And if it's the latter, that they actually believed what they were saying, and I have reason to think they did, right? Glenn from the beginning talked about how Fields has never been coached properly, even though they benched him in Pittsburgh a year ago with the team at 4-2. Think about that. Even though Justin Fields was on his third team in 3 years. Right? They said he's never been coached properly. The GM compared it to Darnold and Mayfield revitalizing their careers. And then the contract was so much bigger than anyone could have imagined. It continues to give the illustration that they actually thought they had their guy. And I think that's why Glenn was so stubborn with Fields, because he didn't want to admit they got it this wrong. Like, this was a complete whiff by the GM with the contract and by the head coach for saying what he said about Fields and how they were going to be the ones to get the most out of him. They haven't come close. And Glenn has actually sounded pretty clueless when he's talked about the quarterback situation in general. The most notable thing, him saying the other night after the game, well, we don't want to run him too much because obviously we don't want him to get hurt. Coach, your only path to have success is to utilize his ability to run. When they said they were going to let Justin Fields play quarterback, you know, my eyes got real big. Like, what? You're implying that Mike Tomlin and the Steelers didn't know how to use him? But you guys are, the Jets? You guys are going to be the ones to develop him? I don't know. But you give it a chance because what else can you do as a fan? And it's been horrible. And I'll also say this for Fields. They want to evaluate him. They gave him terrible receivers. That's part of this. They want to, evaluate him. They gave him a first-time offensive coordinator who comes over from the Lions, where they had a traditional drop-back quarterback in Jared Goff. So while I don't think Fields is any good, and I've never been a fan of his, even before he was a Jet, just how the Jets put this team together to try and coach up Justin Fields, to quote the head coach, you can question that as well. And now these are the guys that are going to be making the decisions on who they're either going to draft or send a bunch of assets to trade for a different veteran. I think it's all legitimately concerning if you're a true Jet fan here. 800-919-3776. Bob in Vermont is up next on the Michael Kay Show with Jake Asman in for Michael. Hello, Bob.
Hi, Jake. I agree everything you said about the Giants. It was stupid for them being there as true. It was ridiculous.
And you're a Giants fan, Bob, so you didn't like it.
Yeah, I am. I couldn't believe Skattebo got involved with it. He's injured, like you say. He has a walking boot on. And then the rookie guy wearing his belt, that was ridiculous. I couldn't look at that. And I like this chat and YouTube. Jake Asman is a great person. Do not pick on him. That's all I have to say to begin with. Because you're an excellent host of everything you do, Jake.
Bob,
okay?
Thank you. Your check is in the mail. I appreciate it. Folks, I'll admit it. I paid him to say that. So thank you, Bob. And yes, you can watch the show on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, which is great. So definitely check that out or download the ESPN New York app if you can't listen on 880 a.m. I got a tweet from TMKS Burner who says, how do I not call out that caller for saying Cam got paid just to show up? That's not true. We got paid to get into a shoving match when his leg was on backwards a few weeks ago. He did not just show up. Yeah, look, that's fair. And I did bring it up to him, TMKS. I said his obligations to the Giants, he's an injured player. Should he be getting into a scripted melee at Madison Square Garden? But to your point, yes. Again, they were paid to show up. Were they necessarily paid for Cam to be shoving another professional wrestler? And if you haven't seen the clip, make sure you watch it before you have an opinion on it. Because there was like a legit melee. Like, Boombaka, I don't even know if you're a wrestling guy, but you saw the clip. Am I wrong? I mean, that was a legitimate, like, WWE melee last night in John Cena's last appearance at MSG.
Yeah, I got worried. The little wall separating the two guys with the shoving, like, that was shaking. He's got seats behind him. Who knows, like,
Andrew Schultz's mustache is there doing his thing.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, I don't know. The injury, when I saw it, I thought it was a devastating injury. And I just think that, that could easily get aggravated. Like, you don't want to do anything to risk that.
I agree. But, look, thankfully no one got hurt. I mean, it would be very, Jet or Giant-like if that happened. Honestly, the craziest thing I think is Abdul Carter holding up the championship belt with his team at 2-9. What are we doing? How are you holding up a Giants championship belt when you got benched for a series for sleeping through a walkthrough, and then your team went out there? You're not even coming off a win. Like just the lack of awareness by Abdul Carter is astonishing, right? This is the same guy that, again, thought it was acceptable to ask for Lawrence Taylor's number. Maybe a top 3 football player in the league all time. Wanted the Giants to unretire that number. Didn't he ask for Phil Simms' number 2 originally, right? Because he wore 11 in college. So he asked for, one of the great Giants of all time, their quarterback who was a Super Bowl MVP. And then he asked for Lawrence Taylor's number 2. And then now he's sleeping through walkthroughs and holding up a Giants championship belt. He better turn out to be a great player. I know this year has been incredibly disappointing. Don't tell me he has, this many pressures. Sack the quarterback. And this was my, feeling watching the Giants on Sunday, right? And with Thibodeau out, I really focused in on Carter. Does he ever make an impact play? Like fourth quarter, as the Giants are having all these collapses, where's Abdul Carter at all? Brian Burns has shown up this year. When is Abdul Carter as the third pick in the draft going to make that impact play? Don't just blame Shane Bowen for that. I mean, at some point, you need the third pick in the draft to step up and make a play. 800-919-3776. We'll talk with Marcus Spears in his weekly spot on the K Show coming back. We'll get his thoughts on the Giants and the Jets. Go around the league with him as well. Keep it right here. Jake Asman in for Michael K. You're listening to all of it here on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
Tuesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. The Knicks fought to the end but remain winless on the road this season.
Final horn sounds. Foul came after the buzzer. The Knicks had 3 chances on the right side basket to tie it. But in the end, Miami hangs on 115 to 113.
Any reason for concern with their injuries? Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
1 in every 6 men is likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. That's why New York Presbyterian wants to remind men over 50 to book a prostate cancer screening. A simple blood test is all it takes. It could save your life. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester at locations near you. Schedule your annual prostate cancer screening today at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
Is college even worth it these days? At Empire State University, it actually is. They are SUNY's leading online university. Flexible, affordable, and built for real life. With more than 120 degree programs, you can study what matters most to you. And students agree. They're ranked #1 in student satisfaction among SUNY schools. Whether you are finishing what you started or starting fresh, your goals are within reach. See for yourself. Visit SUNYEmpire.edu before the next term begins.
ESPN New York is throwing a holiday party you don't want to miss. Join us Friday, December 12th at your mother's house in Garden City Park. We'll be broadcasting the Michael K. Show live from 1 to 3, followed by Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg from 3 to 7, all while supporting a great cause. Bring a toy to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation and help make the season brighter for local kids in need. It's the ESPN New York Holiday Party, Friday, December 12th, brought to you by Amazon Pickup, where the holidays get even happier.
New York Lottery's holiday scratch-off games are the perfect gift for everyone on your list.
Like me, your Aunt Jules. I told you I didn't need a gift this year, but I secretly really want one.
Or me, your neighbor Frank. I hope you didn't forget I'm coming to your holiday party tonight.
Or me. Why does no one ever think of the voiceover guy? Anyway, New York Lottery's holiday scratch-off games have more winners and top prizes up to $5,000. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Michelle's Moment here for Gainbridge and their Give Back program, Gainbridge Assist, powered by Parity. Gainbridge and Gainbridge Assist, powered by Parity's goal is to empower girls and women through sports and education, providing 32 organizations in 21 states $222 of grant funding during 2025. These grants aim to level the playing field and expand access to sports and education for girls and women across the country. Here's to a future with no limits for women's sports with Gainbridge and Gainbridge Assist, powered by Parity.
Coach Saban here. On the field or on your walls, coverage matters. That's why I go with Behr Marquee Interior Paint and Primer from the Home Depot.
Exceptional hide, advanced stain blocking, and over 1,000 colors to choose from. Behr Marquee delivers one-coat coverage that stands up to real life. One-coat coverage, no overtime. Behr Marquee, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid only when tinted to colors from the Behr Marquee Interior One-Coat Hide Collection.
Michael K. Show right here on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app. Michael out today. Jake Asman sitting in, and we're excited to be joined right now by ESPN NFL analyst Marcus Spears in his weekly spot. Swagoo, always appreciate any time I get a chance to talk with you. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, man. Jake, how you doing, brother?
I'm hanging in. So, I mean, talk to us about Vegas last night. I mean, we could get into maybe the fun you had after the game if you want, Marcus. But as far as the actual game last night, give us your thoughts on what we saw from the Cowboys and the Raiders. Was it more about the Raiders being bad, or did the Cowboys actually show they might have some fight left in their season?
It was a little bit of both. I mean, the Raiders are awful. The Raiders had a 12-man on the field while Dallas was kneeling to end the game. So that tells you where they are right now as a franchise. Dallas, if Dallas wouldn't have had performances earlier this season where we saw that explosive offense, I wouldn't take much away from it. But after 2 weeks of not having success on that particular side of the ball, the fact that they were able to strike early and look organized and hit some big plays, and we saw the run after the catch with George Pickens, CD got involved early, Javonte Williams got going. And I really draw from what they did against Green Bay defense. I draw from what they did earlier in the season against the Giants. So, again, there is something you can obviously take away from that. But with what that team has been through with losing a teammate and having to deal with, the emotion of the game and all of the things that's surrounding Dallas right now, I thought it was a really good performance, a really good, honor of Marshawn Kneeland, but also a good performance after a pretty tumultuous week. And I think you got to factor that in. And it may be something that catapults this team.
Well said. And, specifically we saw Quinnen Williams, former Jet, of course, make his debut last night. And, I mean, that was the best Quinnen has played by far this season. He already has more sacks with the Cowboys than he did with the Jets. He had 3 QB pressures and 5 quarterback hits to go with all that. What did you see from him? Is that a product of the Raiders' O-line being a mess, or is Quinnen Williams now maybe rejuvenated playing in Dallas?
Well, I think there's a little bit of rejuvenation. Everybody knows that me and Quinnen are cool, and that's like a little brother to me. And I know he's excited about being here, but it's also because you got to lead and you can rush the passer more.
Yep.
Like that matters as well. And just having more opportunities to do what I think he does really well. And I know a lot of people probably didn't think about that factor being a part of it. Like, Quinnen, now he decides to play well. Well, more opportunities to pass rush based on your offense having success, you probably, the more you can do something, the better you get at it. So I think it's a part of his, being rejuvenated, but a part of it is how the game went, and he just had more opportunities to get after the passer. And it did help that the Las Vegas Raiders offensive line is not really good in the interior, but we've seen Quinnen do those type of things against good interior offensive linemen.
Marcus Spears, ESPN NFL analyst, joining us here on the Michael K. Show in his weekly spot. Jake Asman in for Michael K. Taking you till 3. How about Quinnen's old team, Marcus? So the Jets are making a quarterback change. They're going to go with Tyrod Taylor Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. From what you saw with Fields, are you surprised that Aaron Glenn is ultimately making this decision?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, a few weeks ago, I took a lot of flack, but it's fine. I'm used to it. I don't think Justin Fields is a starter in this league. I just think the inconsistency in his play, how cautious you have to be, and he'll make the splash plays with his arms sometimes and his legs, but it's not consistent enough over the time period that we've seen him have opportunities to play for me to say that that's a guy you feel comfortable with being a starter on your football team. And it's unfortunate because the dude is super talented. It just hasn't been put together. And I think the best decision Aaron is making the decision that he thinks gives his team the best chance to win, and that's Tyrod. And Tyrod has played at a high level in this league before. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm not surprised at all. I think Justin is just too inconsistent, and you have to cautiously call plays with him. And I think that hurts you as an offense. And you make a change, hopefully, obviously, to get more production out of that position, but also to a guy that you've seen make those type of plays and throws before that you're looking to make.
Marcus, the Jets defense this year, it's a stat that's just hard to believe, especially given the fact they have a defensive head coach and an experienced defensive coordinator in Steve Wilks. But they have 1 turnover in 10 games, 0 interceptions, which is now tying an NFL record. How is it possible that a defense that, by the way, had 8 of its 11 starters returning from last year has been this bad at forcing turnovers?
Well, I think it goes along with kind of what I said with Quinnen Williams, man. Like when you never got to have a chance to play from ahead, and you never get a chance to just pin your ears back. And I think Will McDonald is one of the best rushers in the league, and Johnson, and, I know who's there. And those guys are really good football players. And I think it's more of an indictment on how this game goes as a whole, as opposed to just looking at one unit. Yes, you would love to create turnovers. You would love to be able to create those negative plays, but when teams are always so comfortable and able to stick to their script and run their offense, those things become much more difficult to do. And they're trying. I mean, you can turn on film and see them trying to get the ball out and see guys, running hard to the football and still playing hard. But ultimately, there's an attrition and a frustration that sets in as well. And it's just something that you cannot deny, the fact that, dude, we press and we give up a big play because we're trying to create a turnover, or we just try to play solid defense and hope that we get 3 and outs in our offensive ball enough to make some plays. The unfortunate part about what's going on there, though, is you never get like a rhythm as a defense. You never have an opportunity to probably pressure as much as you want to unless it's in pure desperation. You never have a chance to, your pass rushers never get a chance to pin their ears back and just go. And that's a big part of creating turnovers. That's a big part of creating negative plays. It's a big part of getting offenses behind the sticks to where they do have to reach a little bit on the third and long in order to make a play. So I think it's more about, the situation that these guys have been put in. And obviously you can get turnovers regardless of all of those things. I'm just saying it's much harder to do, so I'm not surprised at the numbers.
Marcus, to the Giants now. What was your reaction when you saw the story that Abdul Carter apparently slept through a Giants walkthrough, and that's why Mike Kafka did not play him in the Giants' first series against the Packers on Sunday?
Yeah, young players, man. We just, we were coming off Monday night where Keon Coleman actually was inactive because he missed a Friday meeting. And I just think, man, this league, and look, you fine, you sit, you do whatever, but this league is about grown men. And sometimes, these young guys get in here and they struggle. They struggle in a lot of areas. That's why good veteran presence is important. That's why coaches that, one, hold them accountable, but also in the midst of holding them accountable are good enough to explain to them like, hey, man, we can't let this happen. This is why these consequences have taken place. So I think he'll learn from it. He'll grow from it. That's what you hope from every young player. But, Captain wants to come in and establish, a way that they're going to go about doing things. And I think that's the right thing to do.
Apparently, it was not the first time he's been late for things. My question to you as a former player, Marcus, does benching a guy for only a drive, does that do anything? Does that accomplish anything? Because then Abdul Carter's on Twitter yesterday, and he's basically poking fun of himself and making light of the situation. So it's not exactly like he was very remorseful for his actions. Like, what does actually benching a guy for only one drive actually accomplish?
Yeah, it's immaturity. I mean, look, the accountability really comes from the guys in the locker room. I mean, coaches can discipline and they can say, but that's going to have to come from a Dexter Lawrence or a Brian Burns or a Kayvon Thibodeau. That's going to have to come from those guys. That's when it really hits home, is when your peers get after you. And I think that's probably going to be the most effective method. It's a different athlete now. And, we can get into a long conversation about, these guys being young and being treated like they superstars before they really do anything, and all of that that comes with that NIL. They coming into the pros with $1 million in their bank account now. So you're dealing with different guys. That level of discipline, desperation, and what you want to get accomplished is different. And we can either be old men on the stoop griping about it, or we can try to adjust and figure out how to get the best out of them. And I think it's a healthy mix of both. Bench his ass, sit him down. But like I said, the accountability got to come from his peers, and then, dudes usually straighten up when you start taking their money away. So it may get to that.
Marcus Spears, ESPN NFL analyst, with us here in his weekly spot on the Michael Kay Show. Jake Asman in for Michael. Marcus, how about some other stories around the NFL before we wrap? The Philadelphia Eagles, they're 26-5 over their last 31 games. They're the defending Super Bowl champs, yet It just feels like there's so much drama surrounding them. What are your thoughts on everything that you're hearing going on in Philadelphia, despite the fact, again, they just keep winning seemingly every game?
Nothing at all. I've said it for a couple of weeks. They thrive in this type of environment, and it's not for every team. Every team can't function in this environment. Every team doesn't have enough dudes to still be good while they figuring things out. I think it speaks a lot to Howie Roseman and the job that he's done putting a roster together where you can withstand some storms from not only within but from without. But this team has functioned in a lot of turmoil before. This is not new. We were sitting here, a year ago saying, what's going? Why Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl throwing 20 touchdowns? It's the unconventional way. And yeah, you don't love it. You don't love AJ being disgruntled. You don't love the offense not having the success that they have. But most of the time, in wins or losses in the NFL, you go back into the film room on Monday and you figure out what you're doing wrong anyway, even if to the public it looked good. So I think a lot of it for those guys is let's just continue to be who we are, and when we get this thing figured out, we'll start rolling. And I think that's what you have to be if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. The outside noise really don't matter, man. These dudes are Super Bowl champions. They've been the two majority of this roster. If anything is a concern, it's the fact that Lane Johnson is out now, and I could see that being an issue. But anything else with drama and this guy being disgruntled and not liking something, man, look, like you said, they won a lot of games while we've been trying to figure out what's wrong with the Philadelphia Eagles. And the ultimate goal in this whole thing is to get a W on Sunday.
I'll tell you what, I think every Jet and Giant fan would gladly trade their problems for what the Eagles' apparent problems are. Yeah, must be nice. My God. Marcus, great to catch up. Thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Marcus Spears, ESPN NFL analyst, with us there. Coming up, we hear from one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time, Tom Izzo, the head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, who are playing at the Garden tonight in the Champions Classic. He's going to come on, and we'll talk some hoops with him. Keep it right here. Jake Asman in for Michael Kay. It's 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
FanDuel is the #1 sportsbook for same-game parlays. From points and rebounds to threes and assists, FanDuel is the best place to combine your favorite picks into a same-game parlay or track every stat live all in one easy-to-use app. And right now is the perfect time to join because new customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So bet on the players you love the way you want. FanDuel is the best place to combine your favorite picks into a same-game parlay or track every stat live all in one easy-to-use app. Head to FanDuel.com/K to sign up today. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877 Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
Coach Saban here, and let me tell you, every second matters. Preparation is everything, and that's why I trust Kidde Smoke Alarms.
And as North America's #1 home fire safety brand, they're built to respond over 25% faster to smoke detection. Kidde helps protect what matters the most. Find it at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Number one claim based on total household installations as of December 2023. 29% faster average smoke detection based on internal testing of smoldering wood fires for Kidda 9th edition versus leading competitor 8th edition products.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
ESPN New York is throwing a holiday party you don't want to miss. Join us Friday, December 12th at your mother's house in Garden City Park. We'll be broadcasting the Michael K. Show live from 1 to 3, followed by Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg from 3 to 7, all while supporting a great cause. Bring a toy to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation and help make the season brighter for local kids in need. It's the ESPN New York Holiday Party, Friday, December 12th, brought to you by Amazon Pickup, where the holidays get even happier.
Michael K. Show right here on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel. K off today, Jake Asman in. Michael should be back tomorrow. Tonight at Madison Square Garden is the annual Champions Classic. Michigan State versus Kentucky will tip off at 6:30, and you can listen to that game right here on 1050 ESPN New York. And joining us right now is the head coach of the Michigan State Spartans. The great Tom Izzo is kind enough to give us some time here on Game Day. Coach, always been a huge fan of yours. Thanks so much for coming on today.
Well, thanks, Jake. I appreciate it.
So what is it like for you to get a chance to play at the Garden? I know you've done it so many times, but does it still have that special feeling for you?
Oh, yeah. You know, when you talk about the Michaels and Magics and Larrys, and you talk about the LeBrons, and, you know, anybody you talk to, any of my former players, from Draymond to, you know, Jaren Jackson and guys like that, they all still love the Garden, you know. So the Garden is the Garden. I think it's the reason it's the Mecca. So, yeah, it's exciting for me and my team and our fans.
You know, tell us about your team this year, Coach. One thing I've always loved about you is you've never been afraid to schedule a really difficult non-conference. Arkansas, Kentucky tonight. You still have games with Duke and North Carolina. Why is that so important for you?
Yeah, I mean, an exhibition game against UConn. So I don't know if it's stupidity or if I think it really helps us in the end, but I think it really helps us in the end, you know, help me build my program. I learned from the great John Chaney. He used to tell me schedule, stand the best. It'll help you and your program and everything else. And I think over the years it has. You know, there's some years that, you know, it's taken a toll on us a little bit, but still for us, the goal is not how many games we win. It's how we're playing at the end of the year. And I think that gives us you know, when you play good teams, it gives you a real feel where you are. You're not being fooled, and players don't get a chance to get cocky and arrogant and entitled because we usually get our brains beat in by somebody. Hopefully not tonight.
Hopefully not tonight is right. Tom Izzo, head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, is with us here at ESPN New York. Champions Classic, of course, tonight at MSG, and Michigan State and Kentucky will kick things off at 6:30 for the tip-off time. You know, Coach, you lost your top three leading scorers from last year's team. So when you look at this year's team so far, what has stood out? What are some of the things that you've had to adjust to trying to bring in new scorers for your team?
Yeah, I'd say that's the number one issue we have right now. You know, we lost one kid, Jace Richardson, a little later at the end of May, so couldn't just go out and get somebody. The portal was already changed. But I think our bigs are better. I think we have a couple of good freshmen, both from out east, exactly, Virginia and from Baltimore. And that's been a positive. Our point guard, Jeremy Fears, is playing a lot better. Cone Carr has really improved, but we are hurting a little bit at the two guard. We haven't had the consistency we need both on either end of the court, you know. So we're hoping to find one that scores it and defends it. And that's easier said than done. So right now we're doing it by committee with a bunch of guys that have never, two transfers and a freshman who didn't play much last year. So we're making progress. You know, it's not going to come overnight, but hopefully we'll shoot the ball well there tonight, and hopefully we'll defend it well for the rest of the year. That's going to be important for us.
Now, Coach, you've been around a very long time, of course, but the sport of college basketball, I mean, it's changed, drastically with the transfer portal, and you just referenced that. Of course, there's NIL now involved. Like, how have you, as a coach, how have you been able to evolve how you go about coaching the players today and just building your roster seemingly every offseason?
Well, I still trying to stick with relationships and homegrown, so I'm evolving, but I'm trying to do it in a different way than some that are putting 10 new guys on the floor every year. I still believe in the relationship-based thing. I still believe in the guys that you build in your program are someday going to give you a little more. So that's what I've still stuck with. I mean, it's a crazy time in college sports and football and basketball especially. You do got to adjust, but I don't think you can change who you are or what you are. So I'm trying to stay who I am, what I am, and yet make the subtle adjustments of living in a new era that is I complain about it a little bit publicly. Most don't, because I'm kind of getting toward the end of my career, not the beginning of it. So I think everybody feels the same way. Some just say it and some don't.
Have you thought about how many more years you want to continue to coach?
No, sometimes I say, God, I got 5-6 years in me. Sometimes I say I got 5-6 days in me. So, it's ever changing. And yet I have not one time have I got up and said, man, I'm ready to be done. I got a lot of friends, Jay Wright and Mike and Roy. And of course, Nick Saban and I started together. I've seen a lot of guys. Some of those guys are older than I am, but they, you're getting more guys that are hanging it up more because of the system than because of fatigue. And so I'm trying to fight the system. So when I get done, I hope it's because I'm ready to give it up, not because I'm frustrated with what's going on.
You have to obviously still love doing it, though, right, Coach? Because, I mean, for someone like you mentioned some of your peers who were great coaches that stepped away because of the system. How do you deal with this system but still finding that love that you have for clearly coaching your team?
Yeah, I just keep fighting it. I'm too stubborn to give into it, and but I still love. I said it this way, the best way I can talk how I feel about it. I still love my team. I love the daily stuff. I love coaching. I just don't respect my profession like I used to, and that's our fault. We got to do something about it. Whether it be coaches, whether it be administrators, whether it be commissioners, we've all got to get together and see if we can make this better for all parties. And I'm still in for the fight of that.
Final question, Coach, because you're in New York. Do you have a favorite New York spot when you come here with your team? You guys going to be sightseeing at all with your squad?
Yeah, it's funny. I've come here a lot. Big Ten tournament was here. I've come here for NCAA regionals and things, and first round, second rounds. I've been here with the champions thing 3, 4, 5 times, and love New York and love to come in, but not a lot of time for sightseeing. When you got Kentucky, Duke, or Kansas on your on your the next night after, we're kind of working and trying to get some things done. But our guys get to take a little walk around the city. I do too, and it's a great place to visit. You guys. Tough place to live, if you ask me, because it's so crazy here. But if I was here more often, I'd probably adjust a little better. And I'll just say that New Yorkers have been good to me, so I appreciate them. And I love the Garden. I love what this tournament brings. And hopefully we can find a way to win a game.
Looking forward to the game tonight. Last time you guys faced off at the Champions Classic, I don't need to tell you, it went to double overtime. So hopefully we get another thrilling game tonight. Looking forward to watching. Yeah,
I hope that's true. It was a good time for us, but Kentucky's good. They're really good, and we're still growing. But that's what these teams do. Sometimes they help speed the process of the growth. So we're ready to play. We've had great practices. I'm really looking forward to it, and so hopefully enjoy it, whether you're there in person or on TV.
Coach, enjoy the game later. Thanks so much for a couple minutes.
Appreciate it, Jake. Bye-bye.
Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo with us there, one of the greatest college basketball coaches ever. 2000 national champion, into 8 Final Fours, and still going. And I give him credit because you think of some of the coaches he mentioned there. Jim Boeheim, for all the Syracuse listeners out there, Roy Williams, Coach K, Jay Wright. You go down the line, there's been so many coaches, even in college football, right? Nick Saban he referenced. Guys don't want to deal with the transfer portal and the NIL, and you have to re-recruit your own players every year. And here's Tom Izzo, 70 years old, still doing it. So I give him credit. I didn't have the guts to tell Tom Izzo that when I was applying for colleges, I did apply to Michigan State, and I got in, but I ultimately did not go. I didn't want Coach to not like me. I felt like we were having a really good conversation. But good stuff there from Tom Izzo. Again, Champions Classic tonight at the Garden. Tickets still available online if you want to go. Michigan State first up tonight in that one against Kentucky. You could hear the action on 10:50 a.m., and you can watch it on ESPN. Tip-off is at 6:30. Quick break. We'll come back. Lot still to do. Jake Asman in for Michael K, taking you till 3 right here on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
Tuesday with Don Hahn and Rosenberg. The Knicks fought to the end but remain winless on the road this season.
Final horn sounds. Foul came after the buzzer. The Knicks had 3 chances on the right side basket to tie it, but in the end, Miami hangs on 115 to 113.
Any reason for concern with their injuries? Don Hahn and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Is college even worth it these days? At Empire State University, it actually is. They are SUNY's leading online university. Flexible, affordable, and built for real life. With more than 120 degree programs, you can study what matters most to you. And students agree. They're ranked #1 in student satisfaction among SUNY schools. Whether you are finishing what you started or starting fresh, your goals are within reach. See for yourself. Visit sunyempire.edu before the next term begins.
Mornings with DiPietro and Rothenberg.
This whole idea that Joe Shane is just safe and you have nothing to worry about is apparently not true. He's going to do the due diligence. All right, here's a folder on him and a folder on him and a folder on him. They will determine who they want based off of his information. He is hardly safe. Not that he won't be back, but it's not a slam dunk that he will be back.
DiPietro and Rothenberg, morning 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Rich Eisen here. As you all know, I care deeply about pediatric cancer research and awareness. That's why I'm proud to talk about Hyundai Hope on Wheels. For over 27 years, every Hyundai sold has helped fund life-saving pediatric cancer research. Together with over 850 dealers nationwide, they've raised more than $277 million, supporting over 25,000 kids in their fight against cancer. At Hyundai, hope isn't optional. It comes standard. Visit HyundaiUSA.com and search Hyundai Hope on Wheels to learn more.
You live for this. The wins, the losses, the slam dunks, and the buzzer beaters. The dream that this is your team's year. Hope. It's what keeps you coming back. So you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when everything's on the line, your support means everything. That's why the NBA Store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
ESPN New York is throwing a holiday party you don't want to miss. Join us Friday, December 12th at your mother's house in Garden City Park. We'll be broadcasting the Michael K. Show live from 1 to 3, followed by Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg from 3 to 7, all while supporting a great cause. Bring a toy to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation and help make the season brighter for local kids in need. It's the ESPN New York Holiday Party, Friday, December 12th, brought to you by Amazon Pickup, where the holidays get even happier.
Hey, this is Mika Zibanejad.
Hey, this is Adam Fox. Catch every Rangers game right here on 880 ESPN.
WHSQ and WCBS FM HD2, New York.
Jake Asman in for Michael K.
No Michael K.
That's right, Don LaGreca. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg's coming up in 1 hour. We got a lot to do in this hour. Paul Finebaum is going to join us, but right now it's time for Game Time, which is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 7 p.m., Devils are in Tampa to play the Lightning. 7:30, Nets hosting the Celtics at the Barclays Center. 8 p.m., the Islanders are in Dallas to play the Stars. At 10 p.m., the Rangers are in Las Vegas to play the Golden Knights. Coverage begins at 9:30 right here on ESPN New York. Tullamore Dew, the original, triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Joining us right now in his weekly spot is ESPN college football analyst, the host of the Paul Finebaum Show. Paul Finebaum. Paul, Jake Asman here. Thanks so much for coming on today, even with Michael off.
Jake, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, first time I've gotten a chance to talk to you. I've always been a fan, and I know this time of year got to be absolutely crazy. 2 weeks to go before we get the official college football playoff positioning here for the 12 teams. What is the biggest storyline that you're personally following with 2 weeks to go here?
Well, I don't think anything will change tonight, at least at the very top. It's going to be Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M. But after that, it will get interesting, primarily and predicated by Alabama losing to Oklahoma. They're in a really prickly situation right now. They have 2 losses. They play not this weekend, but next weekend at Auburn. That may not mean a lot of people on Staten Island, but that's one of the bitterest rivalries on the face of the earth. Nick Saban recently said that place was a house of horrors for him. About 15 years ago, he was on the verge of a national championship, getting in, and he missed. He tried to kick a field goal at the end of the game, Jake, to win. And it ended up was returned 109 yards for a touchdown by Auburn, and it literally crushed his opportunity to win 3 straight titles. So it's one of those places. But that's for next week. The big story I think tonight is going to be, where is Miami and Notre Dame? Because Miami beat Notre Dame on the first weekend, but Notre Dame has been ranked ahead of them. Those are a couple of the stories making their own. Really, the biggest conversation in college football right now has been coaching changes. You saw James Franklin yesterday end up at Virginia Tech, and the story of the moment is Lane Kiffin, who is being wooed by everyone. I remember Michael 2 weeks ago asked me about the Giants. Kiffin, I think, let it be known it's too cold in New York, but he is being wooed by both Florida and LSU. He said today that he denied that he'd been given an ultimatum, that he had to make a decision by next week, but it is a story that will not go away.
Ultimately, when you look at Lane Kiffin and the job he's done at Ole Miss, can you argue that those jobs would be that much better for him? Like, why not just stay at Ole Miss if he's happy there, he's winning, and he's obviously exceeded the expectations? If he goes, for example, to LSU, if you don't win a national title there, they're going to get rid of you. Lane Kiffin, I feel like if he wanted to stay at Ole Miss, he's in a good spot. Or is that too naive of a take of mine to have on Kiffin?
No, it's the exact correct take, except we are talking about not a normal person here. We're talking about Lane Kiffin. I mean, he was the coach of the Raiders under Al Davis, I think, at the age of 30. He was fired on the tarmac by Southern Cal in 2013. He's a guy that can win a national championship at Ole Miss, but I think deep down he feels like, I need to go somewhere else to do it consistently, because college football is all about money right now. It's all about payrolls. It's all about NIL. I don't know what he's going to do, but the fact that his family, his ex-wife, who's now his current girlfriend, go figure that one out, and his entire family went to Gainesville on Sunday in Baton Rouge. I mean, by the way, these are not garden spots, okay? It's not like you're going to have a vacation at these 2 places, because they just wanted to get a good look, because it's a family decision. And ultimately, I don't know what he's going to do, but it is incredibly intriguing. He has a game a week from Friday. Even though he denied that the school has given him an ultimatum, most people in college football believe he has to make a decision pretty soon, because he is going to be in the playoffs. And the idea that think about this in the NFL or in any other sport, a franchise or a team going into the biggest moment of the year without your head coach.
It really is unbelievable. Just another day in college football. Paul Finebaum with us here on the Michael Kay Show. Speaking of coaches, one of the things I wanted to get your thoughts on, I think we've now had 13 FBS coaching positions open up this year, second most that we've had over the last 5 years. Why do you think, Paul, we've had so many this year? Is this now going to be like a trend going forward? I mean, it just feels like it's the wild, wild west with not just transfer portal, NIL, but now with all these coaching searches.
Well, there just simply is no patience. Some of it has to do with players getting paid. Remember the old days in my field, you would say, well, you can't criticize these guys. They're not being paid. Well, they are now, and they're being paid millions of dollars. But the coaches now are also making so much money. In the SEC alone, the league I cover more than any, of the 16 coaches, I think 14 are making more than $8 million a year. The top coaches are up to $12 million. So when you get these type of salaries, there's no like wait till it's like the NFL. You have a bad game, you're on the hot seat. You lose a couple more, you're going to get fired. Like Brian Kelly had a $54 million buyout. James Franklin had a $52 million buyout. Now that was mitigated by the fact that he got a new job. I would have taken the $54 million and gone to the beach. I don't know about you.
I'm right there with you. Do you think Brian Kelly gets a job during this cycle, or could he sit out for a year?
Most of these guys don't like to sit out because you get forgotten about very quickly. But the fact that Franklin got a job so fast, and Brian Kelly's on the same level. I mean, he's a good coach. He just never could quite break through at LSU. I mean, he was played for the national championship once at Notre Dame and was in the playoffs 2 other times. The real issue right now is there's so many coaching vacancies, and you could still see Lincoln Riley leave Southern Cal for one of these vacancies. You have all these other jobs that this might be the year to get one. And I think Kelly would probably be more than happy if he could get a good one. I mean, you got Penn State open. You've got all these SEC jobs. You could have Southern Cal. I mean, these are jobs that don't come open very often.
You mentioned Penn State. A lot of our listeners are Penn State alum. What's the best possible coach that their AD, Pat Kraft, could actually hire here?
Yeah, I mean, you're hearing a bunch of names. Brett Bielema from Illinois has been mentioned. The name that I've heard today, and it's by no means been confirmed because he has, in my mind, a better job, but that's Kalen DeBoer, who took Washington to the national championship a couple of years ago. He's been at Alabama, but that loss the other day to Oklahoma has really made his lifestyle here difficult. And if he doesn't make the playoffs, he will be on the hottest seat in the country going into next year. So I don't know what he's thinking, but I would think he would still be a pretty good hire. He has a great reputation, and at Alabama, he's done okay. But going 9-3 or 10-2 at Alabama doesn't work, especially after following a guy who won 6 national championships in 17 years, Nick Saban.
Paul Finebaum joining us at his weekly spot of the Michael Kay Show, of course, brought to you by Bet365. Paul, when you look at the situation that continues to happen with these coaches, and we're going through some of them, are we going to get to a point where we actually could have, maybe it's with Kiffin, who you mentioned earlier, but are we going to get to a point where maybe even multiple schools are going to have interim head coaches coaching in these college football playoff games if the full-time coach leaves for a different school?
Yeah, I think it could happen. I think it will happen. It's interesting. Last year, the backup quarterback for Fabula at Penn State left before the first game to go to Missouri. He actually did a good job this year. He probably was pretty smart to get out of there. But, yeah, that happens. And I was told by an agent the other day, these coaches the playoff may sound important, but their next opportunity is more important. I mean, just think, can you imagine, the coach of the Patriots this year or the coach of the Eagles saying, you know what, I'm going to bail before the playoffs. I mean, it's uncharted territory. We've never been there before, but we're about 2 weeks away from it happening.
Unbelievable. A couple things on the field I want to get your thoughts on. What were your big takeaways from Georgia playing as well as they did, beating up on Texas, and then Texas A&M needing the largest comeback in school history to find a way to beat South Carolina?
The situation at A&M is understandable. I realize we're in the Eastern time zone here, but that game started at 11 o'clock Central time zone. Nobody wants an early game. The team was unmotivated. You were playing one of the inferior teams, and they literally just couldn't do anything right. The fact that they could come back from 4 touchdowns, I think, actually speaks to how good they are. The Georgia game was even more revealing. Georgia, the last 2 weeks, has played better than anyone in the country. They have finally got it going after a bumpy start. They've only lost 1 game. They're in a position now to perhaps get a bye in the playoffs. And I still think Ohio State's the best team in the country, but Georgia is probably at the very next level.
Texas A&M and Texas. So, Paul, I used to do radio in Houston for 6 years, and I worked with a Longhorn, so I know all about the Aggie and the Longhorn rivalry and how long it's been away, and now it's coming back soon. Can you explain to my audience just the significance of that game coming up and then the major ramifications it potentially has for Texas A&M?
For about 30 or 40 years, they used to play on Thanksgiving Day, and it was like a ritual. Now it's going to be on the Friday night of after Thanksgiving. What's interesting is that while it's an important game for Texas, it's life or death for Texas A&M. That was the bit that they hated the day when Texas got into the SEC, and the SEC, to try to make up for the bad feelings, gave them the game last year at Kyle Field. Remember, they were the Aggies were, I think they had one loss. They had an SEC championship bid on the line, and Texas won. And this year, I think the same thing is going to happen. Texas is down and out. Their only shot at getting in the playoffs is to upset the number 3 team in the country. It wouldn't ruin the Aggies season, but deep down, this is a cliche, but it's actually true. You've worked there, you know. Beating Texas is more important than winning the national championship. They hate the Longhorns that much.
Yes, they absolutely do. As far as the quarterbacks, I'm going to ask you about that because as a Jet fan, I'm starting to watch all these guys, Paul, trying to see which quarterback the Jets are likely going to ruin next. But I'm curious your thoughts because I know Michael's asked you this a few times. What have you seen from some of the guys that may or may not come out? Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore at Oregon, of course, and Ty Simpson at Alabama. It feels like those might be the 3 top guys. Do you buy or believe in any of those 3 at the next level as legit franchise guys?
No.
Wonderful.
I mean, Mendoza, yeah. I mean, more Jets heartbreak. Year 48. Mendoza is probably the best of the group. Ty Simpson really disappointed me last Saturday. I mean, he was scared to death against one of the better defenses in the country, which I don't think is going to help him. But as you well know, picking the quarterback, right? It's just almost impossible. But I don't want to help the Jets. I mean, I think their GM and I think their front office does a good enough job every year of screwing it up.
You're not wrong about that. Paul, great to have you on. Thanks so much for still coming on today. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, it was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Paul Finebaum, host of course, the Paul Finebaum Show, and you watch him on ESPN all the time, talking college football with us there in his weekly spot. Paul Finebaum brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'll tell you what, I think Fernando Mendoza would be my pick, but I don't know. And honestly, here's my big fear for the Jets, and it goes back to what we were saying at the top of the hour. They could actually pick the right quarterback, and we might not know until 5 years goes by when that guy is on a different team lining it up. See Sam Darnold this past week aside. Right, like the Jets actually picked the right quarterback. Sam Darnold was worthy of the number 3 pick in the draft. They just decided, hey, the best way to help Sam Darnold succeed was to hire Adam Gase, who, to quote the owner's brother, who was the acting owner at the time, Christopher Johnson, Adam Gase is coaching football to where it's going. That's an actual quote. So, I mean, you could pick the right quarterback and then surround him with nothing. The one thing I will point to with the Jets that does give me some glimmer of optimism for, whoever the quarterback is that's coming in next year. You're not starting from scratch. Like the quarterback that plays for the Jets next year will be in a way better situation to have a chance to succeed than Darnold was and even Zach Wilson in 2021. Like the offensive line for the Jets has some legitimate studs on it. You watch Myles Garrett destroy the Ravens' offensive line on Sunday? Well, Myles Garrett against the Jets, they held him to his worst game in 6 years. He only had 1 sack, and that sack came more on Justin Fields holding on to the ball than Myles Garrett beating Olu Fashanu, who was great in that game. And Armand Membou's had really an all-pro level year as a rookie. He looks the part. So you got 2 bookend tackles. I think Joe Tippmann's played really well at guard. I think you do have something with your offensive line. If you're the Jets, you have a number 1 receiver in Garrett Wilson. I think you have a good tight end in Mason Taylor. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that the Jets didn't trade Breece Hall at the deadline because they intend to either franchise tag him or pay him. So you're not starting from nothing with your running back room. You have a number 1 receiver. The O-line's not terrible. It's not the worst place for a rookie quarterback. I just have questions about who that quarterback is and the people that are actually picking that quarterback. So we'll see. But I'm telling you, the Jets did not acquire all these picks to not be willing to trade some of them to get their guy if they need to get their guy. That's how I look at it. Now, Mel Kiper was a guest on DiPietro and Rothenberg today. And I mentioned Fernando Mendoza, and that was the guy that Paul said he likes the best out of any of them. This was Kiper giving us a comp for who Mendoza potentially is at the next level.
People said Kirk Cousins when he was coming out. I think that's underestimated. Kirk was a fourth-round pick. Now, he should have gone higher when you go back and reevaluate it. But in terms of Mendoza, I brought up Peyton because, Peyton didn't have any wow stuff. And that was the same thing they said to me. I had guys in the league say if his name was Peyton Jones, it'd be a third-round pick. And then people reminded me, well, they said the same thing about Shador. Why didn't you just rank Shador as a third-rounder? Well, if I'd have listened to that with Manning, how would I have looked? And I didn't listen to it with Shador either because it didn't work with Manning. And we'll see how it does with Shador Sanders. But at the end of the day, the league looks at it that way as well. There's some in the league, I say, that were not high on Peyton Manning at all. Some like Ryan Leaf better. Ryan Leaf had all the traits. Peyton Manning didn't. How'd that work out?
Hey, if Mel Kiper is right that Mendoza's Peyton Manning, all right, Mel, I mean, name the price of the check I will write for you to the charity of your choice. He's comparing him to Peyton Manning? Really? If the Jets get him, I hope he's right. But, man, it's funny. Finebaum doesn't really like any of them. Mel Kiper compares to the Peyton Manning. So that to me was unbelievable when I heard Mel say that on DiPietro and Rothenberg earlier. 800-919-3776. Let's get back to some of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Hector, who is in Queens, who is first up this hour on the K Show with Jake Asman in for Michael. What's up, Hector? Hector, you're gone. You got to be ready to play when you call into the show. All right? I got a quick hook. I'm going to the pen right. Unlike Aaron Glenn, who didn't bench Justin Fields until it was far too late, I have a very quick hook. 800-919-3776. Ira in Staten Island is next on the show today. What's up, I?
Hey, Jake. How are you? And I'm ready, but unfortunately, we're talking about a draft and not maybe winning football games.
This is the earliest I've done draft talk, Ira. We're breaking down quarterbacks on November 18th. It's depressing.
It's very, very sad. Very sad. And you know what? Whether it's Kiper, no disrespect to any of these professionals or you and me, at the end of the day, nobody knows how anybody's going to develop at the next level.
Nope.
You may have a feeling, just like I had a feeling about Jackson Dart. Doesn't mean I knew anything more than anybody else. It just, sometimes you just feel that way. But, with the Jets quarterback situation, if the Titans don't get the number one pick, you know it. If the Saints are picking one, you could kiss Mendoza goodbye. I do not like Simpson. I already spoke to a scout, and he agreed with me. He should not be coming out of school this year. And then after that, how about the dead cap money that the Jets have with Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers for next season? It's close to $60 million. So if they're going to get a quarterback, he's going to play right away, most likely, you would think, because they're not going to be able to afford to bring in a stopgap guy unless they make Fields the starter or Taylor the starter next year.
Or unless they get, some other stopgap guy for, under $10 million. And that, I don't know if you heard the first hour, Ira. That was a big issue I had when we just talk about, how we got here with Fields. They grossly overpaid for the guy. Like Sam Darnold a year ago signed for $10 million with Minnesota. You look at the contract Daniel Jones signed with the Colts. It was 1 year up to $14 million, $13 million guaranteed. The Jets guaranteed Fields $30 million on a $40 million contract, which to me either screams they completely misread the market or they obviously thought Fields was going to potentially be their guy, and he's been as bad as he's ever been. So that also gives me great concerns with this regime now making this pick this offseason.
Well, I agree with you. We're on the same page, but I don't think it was the market mistake. I think they just evaluated him wrong. And once again, you look at tape of him coming out of college, just like so many others that didn't make it in the NFL. He has all the tools, he just doesn't get it, man. It's whether it's mentally processing defenses, whatever the situation is, he just doesn't get it. And you know what? 3 years from now, I wish him well. He's on another team. It would kill me to see him be another Geno Smith or Sam Darnold 2 years from now.
Look, I a good call. I would be shocked if that happens with Fields. I think at some point you kind of are who you are. But, look, we can't rule it out just because it is the Jets, as sad as that is. Right? The one thing that would kill me the most if this guy ever went somewhere and played great would be Zach Wilson. Because I am convinced he's just terrible. I really am. You could blame the Jets for a lot of things. I don't care who was coaching Zach Wilson. It wasn't going to matter. And think about it. Zach Wilson got removed from the second string spot on the Dolphins depth chart for Quinn Ewers, who was a 7th-round pick, this past year. So, like, he lost his job, I guess, in practice as the backup. I think they, like, flip-flopped a couple times. By the way, isn't it amazing Tua's been healthy so far? Maybe they're just waiting, the football gods are just waiting for December 7th against the Jets for Tua to go down with something, and here comes Zach Wilson that day at MetLife against his old team. Oh, could you imagine? But, I mean, look, the Fields contract, when they gave it out, I looked at it like, okay, you know, you have all this cap space, but the way they handled the Rodgers cap hit, where they split it over two, Ira's 1,000% right. Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers are going to count for $57 million against the Jets cap next year. And yes, the Jets still have a lot of salary cap that's projected to come their way, around $75-ish million. But still, why they didn't just take the Aaron Rodgers dead cap all on the chin this year and set themselves up better for 26 and beyond concerns me, because that all led to part of their thinking that this team was going to be better than they actually were. This was not supposed to be this Jets rebuilding, picking in the top 3 year. Their win total was 6.5. Glenn came in, took shots at the previous coaching staff with all the penalties, right? He puffed his chest about Will McDonald breaking out because he coached him up on all these different pass rusher moves, and McDonald, outside of one game this year, has been invisible for a lot of the year. You know, Glenn had the line about, we're here to win now. This is not a rebuild, when asked directly if it was. And you could say, oh, what's he supposed to say? But his actions also tell you they thought they were going to be a lot better. So I hope over these final 7, because he's not going anywhere, he improves. I think that's all you can hope for if you're a Jet fan, that the guy learns and gets better, because I don't think he's going anywhere. And I think there's got to be some serious conversations had about this coaching staff if Glenn is here, right? Dan Campbell, everyone loves to make the comparisons to Glenn and Campbell. Yes, let's bank on a historic outlier to be great. But okay, I'll play, as Michael Kay would say, your reindeer games on that. Dan Campbell, after his first year, you know what he did? He fired Anthony Lynn and then promoted Ben Johnson. Is Aaron Glenn going to be willing to make a defensive coordinator change? Not offense. I think Engstrand's going to stick around. But is Glenn willing to move on from Steve Wilkes? I mean, the Jet defense is 29th in the league this year in DVOA. They've been terrible. They have 1 turnover all year. Their head coach had 40-something interceptions in his career. Aaron Glenn was a ball hawk. 8 of their 11 starters were back going into the year. And don't tell me, oh, well, they traded Sauce and Quinnen. They had 1 total turnover with Sauce and Quinnen before they were traded. This has been a problem all year for the Jet defense. And outside of the Cincinnati game, anytime they needed to get a big stop at the end of the game, they failed. They faltered. They should not only have 2 wins right now. If they were a better coached team, they would be better. You know, and Aaron Glenn came in and he highlighted the fact that the Jets blew 7 fourth-quarter leads a year ago and that his staff would be able to change things and they'd be better. And he even had the now infamous line over the summer, the last 4 minutes of each half belonged to the coach. And the Jets lost a game against the Broncos in London because of the head coach completely bungling the last 4 minutes of each of those halves that day. He didn't know how long the potential game-winning field goal would have been for Nick Folk in that game. Remember he said it was like 65 or 68. Coach, it was 61. I'll never get over that. And Nick Folk hit from 58 yards 2 weeks prior to that in the Jets' loss to Miami on Monday Night Football. So over these final 7, you don't want to see any more of that if he's going to be here. You want to see him continue to improve and get better and just hope that, you know, maybe they just luck into a quarterback because who the heck knows. Hector in Queens, he says his phone was on mute and he's begging for forgiveness to call back in. Hector, I forgive you. Go ahead. You're on the Michael Kay Show with Jake Asman.
Please forgive me.
Go ahead, Hector. Go.
My bad, man. Listen to me. Do not take a quarterback with one of your top picks. Dude, you take a generational player like Caleb Downs. You know, the safeties haven't been as good as Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu in these days. There hasn't been quite one, but he is the next one. I'm telling you. And those suck for
You want to take a safety in the top 5, though, Hector?
Bro, Caleb Downs. I'm not just – but Caleb Downs is going to be that special.
I get it. Didn't we say that about Kyle Hamilton, though? I just feel like a safety that high.
I know. Kyler Hamilton was never as highly praised as Caleb Downs is. Also, if you want to take the wide receiver, go right ahead. But you're going to take a quarterback when you really don't know in the top 5. Aside from would you not take? I'm not saying he is. Would you not take Troy or Ed Reed in the top 5? I'm just saying. I'm not saying he is.
Well,
Also,
at least it's a premium position. Yeah, but here's the thing,
Hector.
I
understand.
What's your plan to get a quarterback if you don't do it in the draft? I don't think Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji could say we're going to wait till 2027 where it's a better QB class. We say that every year. This year was supposed to be a great quarterback class. Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Lenoris Sellers. I mean, we do this every year, right? Jackson Dart a year ago was not thought to be a first-round pick. And by the way, if we did a redraft today, he's probably going first overall. Like, nobody really knows. You have to just take a quarterback and do everything in your power to surround him with talent. And I got news for you. The Jets should take 2 quarterbacks this year. Take someone on day 3. Take Drew Aller on day 3 this year. Remember when the Redskins drafted RG3 and Kirk Cousins the same year? Remember when the San Francisco 49ers drafted Trey Lance, who they traded up for, by the way, but they saved their rear ends by also taking Brock Purdy? Why can't the Jets take 2 quarterbacks this year? None of this matters till they get the quarterback. It really doesn't. And the 3 picks they have in 2027, yeah, that sounds great to use to trade up and get your guy. But what if the teams in front of you say, nah, we're good. We're not trading with you. Remember the Giants tried to get Drake May? They got turned down. What if the teams in front of you are in your division? Giants tried to get Jaden Daniels. Well, Washington was not going to make a trade with you. And the Giants were coming up from 6. What if the Jets win too many games like they seemingly always do at the end of the year? And they're not in position to get the guy they actually even want a year from now. Then what? And if the Jets go 4-13 in 2026, are Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn guaranteed a 3rd season where then what? They'd have to win with that rookie quarterback? What rookie quarterback besides Stroud and Jaden Daniels come in and lead the team immediately? Have a winning season. It's hard. Most guys aren't that. We could say, Mark Sanchez, with a stacked team that was 8-3 before Favre got hurt the previous year. Most rookie quarterbacks come in, and it takes a year at least before they start to play a lot better. So then you're putting that type of pressure on Glenn in his 3rd year at that point to win with a rookie. That's why you got to get the quarterback figured out this offseason. And if it really goes horribly, then you could do what the Cardinals did where they drafted Josh Rosen, and then a year later they had the number 1 pick. What did they do? They drafted Kyler Murray. Ironically, Steve Wilkes, who's the Jets DC, was the head coach for that 1 year, and then he was one and done. So, look, it's easy to bench Justin Fields, but I go back to what I said at the top of the show. The real concern I think every Jet fan should have is, can Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji actually get the next quarterback they pick correct when they were this wrong about Justin Fields? 800-919-3776. Lots still to do. Got some thoughts on the Knicks. It's Trent Grisham Day if you're a Yankee fan. Grisham has till 4 today to accept or decline the 1-year, $22 million qualifying offer. So we got to talk about that. Lots still to do. No Michael K.
No Michael K.
Jake Asman in for Michael till Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg at 3. Keep it right here. You're listening to 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
That 3. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply.
Friends, it's football season, the best time of the year. You should be out there tailgating, cheering on your team, and enjoying every Sunday. But if you're dealing with neck pain, back pain, sciatica, or nerve pain, even getting off the couch can feel like a challenge. You don't have to live like that. There's help. Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain is New Jersey's top pain specialist. He's Ivy League trained, double board certified, and is dedicated to helping you get back in the game. Here's what makes the difference. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical image-guided procedures that deliver real results. Dr. Shaw treats neck pain, back pain, joint pain, migraines, nerve pain, and sciatica. with a plan that's customized for you. Same-day and next-day appointments are available, and with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, relief is always close. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines this season. Visit SandwellPain.com to call, text, or book online. Most major insurances are accepted. That's SandwellPain.com. Relief is closer than you think, and it starts today.
New York Lottery's holiday scratch-off games are the perfect gift for everyone on your list.
Like me, your Aunt Jules. I told you I didn't need a gift this year, but I secretly really want one.
Or me, your neighbor Frank. I hope you didn't forget I'm coming to your holiday party tonight.
Or me. Why does no one ever think of the voiceover guy? Anyway, New York Lottery's holiday scratch-off games have more winners and top prizes up to $5,000. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Rich Eisen here, and we're brought to you by Sonos. The holidays sound better with Sonos speakers. Whether it's a movie night that feels larger than life or the roar of the crowd as your team takes the field, Sonos helps create the moments you'll remember. Beautiful design, incredible sound, and effortless control mean you can focus on what matters most, enjoying the season. I love Sonos, and so will you. Discover how easy it is to bring every room to life with incredible sound. Explore Sonos speakers, soundbars, and more at Sonos.com.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Jake Asman in for Michael K. till 3, the ESPN New York holiday party. It's back. Both the Michael K. Show and Don Hahn and Rosenberg are bringing the holiday cheer at your mother's house in Garden City Park, Long Island on Friday, December 12th. That's right, your mother's house. We're once again collecting unwrapped toy donations this year to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation. It all kicks off at 1 p.m. on Friday, December 12th at your mother's house, brought to you by Amazon Pickup. I've been to your mother's house in Garden City. Great spot. So I will definitely try to be there for the holiday party, and you should too. Right now, though, we get to more of your calls. 800-919-3776. Let's say hello to Justin in Tom's River, who's first up this segment on the K Show. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Jake. Thank you, as always, for taking my phone call. I'm a longtime Jets fan like you, Jake. The Jets are in a very tough position, and you look at it's very interesting, I'm going to say the least. The Jets are obviously in a desperate need of a quarterback, but I'm in the position, if I were the GM, you cannot just take a quarterback at the sake of taking a quarterback. Jake, obviously I'm no QB prognosticator, obviously. I'm not a big fan of this draft class. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not really sold on any of them. I could be absolutely wrong.
Did you like anyone last year, Justin? Because remember, last year they said the same thing about this class. It's good. It's not great. Maybe it's just Cam Ward. Meanwhile, Jackson Dart at this time was probably a third-round pick, and now look at him.
That's very fair. I'm just saying, from my eyes, I've hit obviously over the years. I thought Stroud was very good. I thought May was going to be very good. But just to say the least, I think the ideal situation for the Jets is like what happened with Carolina and the Bears. If they don't like one of them, they trade out of that top 3 spot and move back and gather more picks. Obviously the Jets are in big need in their secondary. They need a lot of weapons on offense. Obviously, there's a lot to be desired. I just don't want to see any offensive, defensive linemen. I think the secondary, I think the linebacking core, I would love to see wide receiver. But I think ideally the Jets should move down and acquire more picks because this roster is depleted. And I know it's not, and I know Aaron Glenn's going to be, I know that's going to be your argument. He's going to be on the hot seat. You could find somebody for a year if there's no quarterback in this draft that they like in next year and you really go at it in 2027. I'm in it for the long haul, Jake. I just don't want to see the quick pitch and fix and the same thing all over again. They just got to get it right. I don't care if it's next year, the year after. They just got to get it right. Where I'm at in my position.
Hey, Justin, I appreciate it. And look, that's all fair. I think the big thing you have to understand, though, is the Jets might actually like one of these guys. Seriously. They sent all their scouts to watch Fernando Mendoza against Penn State, where he had the dramatic comeback. They were all in Eugene, Oregon on Friday, I was told by someone, to watch Dante Moore. They're doing their homework on these guys, and I think if they like someone, they're not going to be denied because I think they made the Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams trade with the idea of getting their quarterback. One thing I know about Woody Johnson is he is starving for a franchise quarterback. He is starving for a quarterback. And I think the way that Glenn and Muji sold him on these trades is that we're going to use these picks and we're going to turn Sauce and Quinnen Williams into a franchise quarterback, in part. So I think the Jets are going to be aggressive this offseason in the draft. I do. I think the idea of just waiting till next year is not practical. It's not realistic for a regime that I don't know if Aaron Glenn necessarily gets 2027 if they go 4-13 in 2026. I don't think it's a lock. And you could take a quarterback this year and then do it again next year. Or you could take two in the same draft. We've seen teams do that. I think you keep taking one until you find one. I really believe that. Not all in the first round, but you could take someone on day one and then take someone in the fourth round, for example. To me, there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't fix quarterback, you're not winning. And I just think it's so tough when we go, I don't know if I really like anyone. Like, Jackson Dart would go 1-1 right now if we did a redraft. Like, you don't know. And until the Jets have someone, I think you got to keep evaluating the position and try and bring someone in the draft almost every year. And this year, like, how else are you going to get a quarterback when you're likely going to be picking in the top 5? Like, it's your best chance at it. 800-919-3776. As far as his first point, I'm not taking a safety, or I guess that was the 2 callers ago. Caleb Downs might be great. I'd rather trade out. That I agree with. I'd rather trade out and get more picks than take a non-premium position in the top 5. I just don't believe that's the smart way to build your football team. Just like I don't believe in taking a running back that high either. Right? How's Ashton Genty doing on the Raiders right now? As good as Saquon was with the Giants because they never had the right team around him, the right offensive line, did they get to truly maximize his value as the second overall pick? I just think if you're picking that high, you either trade out, obviously take the quarterback if there's one you like, or take a premium player, premium position, pass rusher comes to mind. The one good thing I'll say about the Jets, right, because it's tough when the team is 2-8 in the middle of a 15-year playoff drought, but who's counting? Of their 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years, I think what should encourage every Jet fan, knock on wood, this remains the case, but you have Armand Membu and Olu Fashanu signed, sealed, delivered on your offensive line for what hopefully is 10 years together as bookend tackles. So to not have to use either of those first-round picks this year and your 3 next year on an offensive tackle, that's not nothing for a Jet franchise that is going to, at some point, probably next year, I still believe, play a rookie quarterback, and you want to give that guy a chance to be successful. More calls right now. Let's say hello to Ryan in the car. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, Jake. How you doing? Let me just say you have made me not hate when Michael's out, man. Always appreciate when you're on.
Well, I appreciate that, Ryan. Michael will be back tomorrow, though, so have no fear.
All right. 2 quick draft points. One, I kind of right on the train, and this is with your point. If you're a quarterback-needy team in any round of the draft, how do you ever leave the draft without a quarterback? 5th, 6th round, who cares? Just how do you ever leave the draft without one?
I think it's a fair criticism for the Jets this past year, right? I mean, they did sign Brady Cook as a UDFA. He's technically their number 3, but I wouldn't have minded if the Jets at some point took someone in the draft this year. I think that's totally fair to say.
I mean, 100%, especially with how uncertain it seems with these guys' prospects and draft process. And number 2, I was just going to say quickly, I know a receiver is thought of as a premium position, but I feel like it should be pretty obvious to NFL GMs that if you're drafting in the top 10, you have a way bigger, more important hole on your roster. And I think, honestly, the Jets and the Giants have both proved that pretty evenly.
That's totally fair, too, Ryan. I would say this, though. In the case of the Jets, if the pass rusher is not there, right, and I just told you why they don't need to take an offensive tackle, you could argue a receiver would warrant a top 10 pick, right? Like Garrett Wilson was pick 10 in the draft for the Jets. He's been worth it. Obviously, you need the quarterback to truly maximize the receivers, but I still would not mind taking a receiver if you're a desperate team. Now, the Jets do have a number 1, but they don't have a number 2 until proven otherwise. So I certainly would be open to it because to me, I'm not going to allow whoever they pick at quarterback to have the excuse they don't have enough around them. I'm going to try and eliminate that excuse. And if I got to overdraft offensive players just to guarantee they have enough talent to be successful, I'm willing to do that because I don't want the Sam Darnold thing again, where you actually picked the right guy and we didn't know because you failed him with coaching and not having a team around him. 800-919 3776. Great call so far this hour. Let's say hello to Javier in Queens, who's up next on the K Show with Jake Asman in for K. What's up, Javier?
What's up, Jake? Thanks for taking the call. As Maniac Nation will rise today. As Maniac Nation is here for you, my man. You're doing a great job. I want to shout you out. You're really awesome. Before I get into the Jets, I'm not a religious guy, Jake, but I'm praying to every single god in the sky that Trent Grisham does not sign that contract. I'm really hoping.
I keep checking Twitter, Javier. Still nothing. He has till 4 today to decide if he's taking the $22 million offer.
Light all the candles. Do what you got to do, people. Those of you that believe, make sure that Trent Grisham is not back on the Yankees with that contract. I don't think it's a good thing for them. With the Jets, I don't know if you remember me from 2 Sundays ago. I got on with you and Mike T. I had the bad feeling that the Jets were going to beat Cleveland, and they did. With the Jets, here's my point. Outside of like Woody, leaving the team and letting it flourish after that, I think that right now they're best served to just have the best draft pick. I want them to be competitive. I want them to fight. I don't want them to win any games. And for those reasons and those reasons alone, I would prefer to start Fields. I think it guarantees the loss, but they've been fighting really hard in their games. I get wanting Taylor in there to assess the wide receivers, but I mean, I don't know if you have tape on those guys. Like, I don't think you need that percent. And I know Taylor gives you a better shot of more passing yards. And
what about the play caller, too, though,
another
Javier?
win?
Right? What about the play caller? Tanner Engstrand's going to be entrusted with a different quarterback next year. Wouldn't you want to see him with a more drop-back quarterback for a few games just to get a better idea who he is?
I don't know. I guess I want to believe that there's enough that you can see in practice that you can make those assessments.
Well, practice.
I get it.
I mean, you listen to Aaron Glenn. Well, Javier, you listen to Aaron Glenn. The Jets always have these great weeks of practices, and they never win. So I actually need to see them against a team that's not the Jets, because we know the Jets will tell you Wednesday through Friday they're the Kansas City Chiefs or the New England Patriots dynasty of practicing. So that's the argument to actually see some competency in these games.
Yeah, I get the logic behind it, but personally, I'd rather secure the loss. So that's why I would want Fields. Shout out to the animals in the chat. And, Jake, keep up the good work. We got to get you on air a lot more. You're really fantastic.
Thank you, Javier. I appreciate it. Look, I won't tell any Jet fan how to fan. If you're rooting for losses, I get it. I would like to see competitive losses, especially if they're keeping this head coach. I don't want the Jets to quit on Glenn and the team to be blown out every week. I don't think that's good. Right? Like, look at the Giants. Abdul Carter's missing meetings, sleeping through walkthroughs. And they had the quarterback. Like, Dart was playing well, and they still couldn't win because you still need the coaching staff. You still need the roster. Like, quarterback's only one part of it. And I'm telling you, the Jets made these trades because they're not going to be outbid if there's someone they like, and they're going to move up and get them. Doesn't guarantee anything because maybe the Saints have the number 1 pick, and they say, we're not moving. I don't care how many picks you offer us, but look, Tyrod is better than Fields. I don't think the Jets are going to rattle off a bunch of wins here. They're not finishing 9-8. I think if they won 2 games with Fields, there's 7 games to go. I could see the Jets probably winning 2 more games. They have a game late in the year against the Saints. They have a game at home against Miami. I think those will probably be the 2 wins the Jets get, but who knows, right? Crazy things happen in the NFL. 800-919-3776 is the number. Let's go to Vinny in Staten Island before we break for the final time. What's up, Vinny? You're on with Jake Asman here on the K Show.
What's up, Jake? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Vinny?
I hate when fans talk like that. I want them to lose. That's like, did you ever play a sport in your life? Losing breeds such bad things. It's bad for the coaching staff, bad for the players. Nobody's going to want to be there. People got to stop with that losing crap. You're not guaranteed a better player because you move up 3 draft picks. What the Jets got to do is they got to get a receiver. They got to get a top-notch receiver. There's a kid out of Ohio State, and there's a kid out of Arizona that's a stud. They're both studs, and they got to build from there. Grab a quarterback. There's a guy out there that nobody even talks about. He was a backup for Tampa Bay, Kyle Trask. He's out there. He's a little injured right now. This guy is a good quarterback and will be another Sam Darnold. Trust me when I tell you. When somebody picks him up next year, he's going to be starting somewhere. I just wish the Jets had the foresight to do it instead of just trying with a draft pick again that's going to go nowhere, especially with this coaching staff. Thank you, Jake. Have a nice day.
Vinny, I appreciate it. I don't know enough about Kyle Trask because I haven't watched him play since he was at Florida. But the one thing I'll say is I don't think he'll be the next Sam Darnold. The next Sam Darnold has to be a guy that bounces around before having success. Kyle Trask wasn't a top 5 pick like Darnold was. Kyle Trask was drafted in the second round in 2021 to supposedly be the heir apparent to Brady, and then Baker Mayfield came in and won that job. So it's not the same situation. Now, to our caller's point, I do think the Jets need to add a veteran to the room. It can't be Fields. It can't be. Like, Gardner Minshew's a free agent. I'd bring that guy in and a rookie. And if you're going to keep Fields around, fine. Like, the Giants have the 2 veterans and a rookie approach. If the Jets wanted to do something similar, because they're not guaranteed to necessarily get the quarterback that they want in April, so you're covered if you bring in another veteran with Fields, I'll listen to that, but I don't know if it's Kyle Trask. I don't think it is. They do need a receiver, though. The receiver I really like is anyone from Ohio State. I mean, the track record, it kind of speaks for itself, does it not? Carnell Tate is a name to watch for the Jets with that Colts pick that they have. 6'3", 191, big play dude. He's really good. I like him. And then the receiver from Arizona State that people seem to love is Jordan Tyson. So we'll see. If you ask me, gun to my head, Jake, who do the Jets take in the draft? It's a quarterback and then a receiver with that second pick. But we will see. One segment left. Plenty still to hit on. Some thoughts on the Knicks and the latest on Trent Grisham. Will he take the qualifying offer? Lot still to do. Don Hahn and Rosenberg is coming up at 3. Jake Asman with you till then on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
FanDuel is the #1 sportsbook for same-game parlays. From points and rebounds to threes and assists, FanDuel is the best place to combine your favorite picks into a same-game parlay or track every stat live all in one easy-to-use app. And right now is the perfect time to join because new customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So bet on the players you love the way you want. FanDuel is the best place to combine your favorite picks into a same-game parlay or track every stat live all in one easy-to-use app. Head to FanDuel.com/K to sign up today. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Michelle's Moment here for Gainbridge and their Give Back program, Gainbridge Assist, powered by Parity. Gainbridge and Gainbridge Assist, powered by Parity's goal is to empower girls and women through sports and education, providing 32 organizations in 21 states $222 of grant funding during 2025. These grants aim to level the playing field and expand access to sports and education for girls and women across the country. Here's to a future with no limits for women's sports with Gainbridge and Gainbridge Assist, powered by Parity.
Okay, all signed up. Easy. Now let's run payroll. What the? Hey girl, I'm you with more gusto. Nice. Who's that? New social media manager, hired and onboarded with gusto. And spoiler, we're kind of famous now. Wait, we're famous? Oh, well, I'm famous. Payroll, benefits, and HR. Designed and built for small businesses. Choose a future with gusto.
You live for this. The wins, the losses, the slam dunks, and the buzzer beaters. The dream that this is your team's year. Hope, it's what keeps you coming back. So you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when everything's on the line, your support means everything. That's why the NBA Store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Tuesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. The Knicks fought to the end but remain winless on the road this season.
Final horn sounds. Foul came after the buzzer. The Knicks had 3 chances on the right side basket to tie it. But in the end, Miami hangs on 115 to 113.
Any reason for concern with their injuries? Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Jake Asman in for Michael K.
No Michael K.
I wanted to hit on the Knicks before we wrap up our show. We'll get back to your calls coming up as well. The Knicks last night lost a game that if they have Jalen Brunson, they win. So for those of you out there saying, oh, they moved the ball better without Brunson, right? Well, at the end of the game, when you need a clutch shot, I don't know, maybe the guy that won the Clutch Player of the Year award could have been used last night. Would have been helpful. And I give the Knicks credit. They fought back, right? They don't have OG either. You know, Deuce McBride gave you 25 points. Towns gave you a spirited effort, 22 and 15. But those two combined missed 4 potential game-tying shots in the last 20 seconds. And once again, I'm not going to go crazy over the Knicks in November. They're going to be assessed in May and hopefully in June. But last night is why you need Jalen Brunson. All right, I already saw some people being like, "Oh, well, the Knicks, they played really well without Brunson last year. Do we have another Patrick Ewing situation?" Remember, like Bill Simmons, famous for like his Ewing theory bit. Tennessee wins a national championship the year after Peyton Manning leaves, like that sort of stuff. Oh, the team that has the star, if they leave or they go down, they're actually better without him. That will not be the Knicks. And last night was one of those games. It's a tough loss for the Knicks, but let's not go crazy. Now, they haven't won on the road yet this year. They got to figure that one out. They're 0-4 on the road this season, one of 2 winless teams on the road. Only the Pacers are the other team with a losing record or without a win on the road. They're 0-8. And by the way, have you seen what's happened to the Indiana Pacers? I did not realize how bad they are. The Indiana Pacers, who went to Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Let me see if Ray or Matt even know the answer to this. Matt, guess the Pacers' record right now.
This season. They're 3-11.
Ray, guess the Pacers' record right now.
I believe the Pacers are a 1-win team. I think they are like 1-9, 1-10, somewhere in that area.
Ray was closer, 1-13. The Indiana Pacers have a worse record than the Washington Wizards, who are 1-12. The Nets have a better record. The Nets, who are not trying to win, have a better record at 2-11 than the Indiana Pacers do at 1-13. They've lost 8 straight. I don't understand what happened. I understand Halliburton's out. I understand Turner left in free agency. So they should be 1-13. Where are all the guys that were just killing the Knicks off the bench last year?
No, they are one of the most hurt or injured teams in the entire NBA.
But 1-13, they have Carlisle as their coach still. They went to the NBA Finals. They went to Game 7.
Oh, the tank is in full effect. They will be a force to be reckoned with next season.
Who's the top player in college that they're going to get and luck into here?
Could be A.J. DeBansa.
1-12 start, worst in franchise history. And look, I don't feel bad for Indiana. I can't stand them. But I would like to point out that after they went to Game 7 of the Finals, they're 1-13. I mean, that's crazy. Here's the latest on Trent Grisham. There is no latest. Still nothing. About an hour to go, a little over an hour, till the deadline for Grisham to decide if he's going to take the $22 million qualifying offer from the Yankees. And this is a big deal. If he accepts it, what does that mean for the Yankees' plans? Does that mean Cody Bellinger is now a luxury item for the House Steinbrenner-led Yankees here? I mean, would they let him walk if they're already paying Grisham $22 million? I have to imagine no. Otherwise, why would you offer the qualifying offer knowing he might potentially take it? But would the Yankees bring back both Bellinger playing the same utility role that he was supposed to have last year? I mean, then you're potentially blocking spots for Dominguez and Spencer Jones. If you have Grisham back and you bring Bellinger back, you better trade Spencer Jones and get something big for him. go crazy. Put together this awesome package for Skubal or someone like that. I don't know if that is realistic or not, but to me, it's fascinating because Trent Grisham, he had this unbelievable season. I'm not trying to take anything away from the guy. He was clutch. He was awesome for the Yankees. 34 home runs. But this is a guy that has never come close to that in his career. So who's the real Trent Grisham? Yeah, the guy's a career .213, .697 OPS hitter before he broke out last year. That's a lot of money to allocate to a center fielder whose defensive metrics were not as good as they even were when he first joined the Yankees. So I am fascinated how the next hour or so is going to potentially go. But if he does accept, then I'll tell you what, you better package Spencer Jones and make some moves to try and win now. And I think that should be the goal for the Yankees. Aaron Judge is turning 34 this year. Garrett Cole's coming off Tommy John. You got to go for it right now. The window is right now. Stanton, another year older. Go for it right now. You have the same amount of wins as the Blue Jays in the American League. Do not waste Aaron Judge's career, man. I said this when I was in for Michael on Friday, the day after Judge won his third MVP. A little eerie to see Don Mattingly be the one to announce Judge as the MVP winner. And what's the first thing they say about Mattingly? Greatest Yankee to not win a championship. That's going to be Aaron Judge. Because as great as Donnie Baseball is, Aaron Judge is, on his way to being like an inner circle Hall of Famer, right? I mean, look at the guys that have 3 MVPs in their career. Yankees to do it. It's like Mantle, Yogi, and DiMaggio. That's it. Like Judge is in rarefied air. Another Michael K term, rarefied air. Don't waste it. They need to be all in this year and surrounding this team with the best possible outlet that has a chance to win a ring. One quick Mets story at the end here. Mets are in on Devin Williams, according to Jeff Passan of ESPN. I couldn't stand Devin Williams for like 90% of the Yankee season, but he did settle in and pitch a lot better towards the end, and he was one of their most reliable arms in the postseason. So I give Devin Williams a lot of credit because I ripped him to shreds on this show and on social media. He was terrible. Career high 4.79 ERA, but this is a guy that when he's right, he was one of the best relievers in baseball in Milwaukee, and he did pitch a lot better down the stretch. So it will depend, I guess, on what the cost is. But if the Mets sign Devin Williams, does that mean goodbye to Edwin Diaz? Are they going to invest in 2 big-time bullpen arms? And, I mean, Edwin Diaz is a guy that he reportedly wants a $100 million contract. Are the Mets going to dole that out? We know they have the money, but is that a David Stearns move? I think the biggest thing for the Mets is figure out a way to keep Pete Alonso. And the fact that Seattle did what they did with Naylor going back there on a 5-year deal, I think that bodes well for Pete and the Mets working something out because that's another first base needing team that just signed a big first baseman. So we'll see. I don't think the Mets would sign both Devin Williams and bring back Edwin Diaz. So that's certainly something there worth following. That does it for me on the K Show. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg, they are coming up next. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to both Ray and Matt for producing. Big thank you to our 3 guests, Paul Finebaum, Marcus Spears, and Tom Izzo, the coach of Michigan State, for joining us. You can listen to all the interviews on the K-Show podcast. But that's it for me. Jake Asman saying, have a great Tuesday. Tune in to Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg coming up next right here on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube.
Tuesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. The Knicks fought to the end but remain winless on the road this season.
Final horn.